Welcome back everybody to Tony's Top Tips Workshop. What this video is on my previous videos, the Smart Genmitsu LC40 laser engraver had a problem not being able to flash the firmware. I've been in touch with Smart and I know I keep harping on about it, but they get back in touch, and the other day I got a message, and I believe I made note of that on the video, that they were sending me a motherboard. Well, lo and behold, that motherboard arrived today. I'm hoping it solves the problem. If it does, then we know what other people have to do to request. They'll have to request the motherboard. But that is the motherboard. That's it. Now, what isn't attached to that is the actual, you've got a button, the power on button, which is, I'll show you, which is, you see the power on button there? Well, that actually is fastened to a plastic fold. I'll show you. It's a plastic unit there, the fascia, and it's fastened to that with two screws. You have to take that off. So, but yeah, it came. It is the same motherboard. I've checked it with the same serial numbers before I took it out of the packet, and I'm just hoping that that cures it. We'll see whether it does like, but I'll just take the laser unit off first. Pop that to one side, and then I give you a quick turn over, and that is the motherboard. I'll see if you can see it from that side. See if you see that better. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black headed screws, and then there is 2 silver ones which are there. That holds the plastic fascia on, but that all comes out in one go. You can take that plastic fascia off afterwards. So, but I'll turn you around because it needs to be around. It's better around this way, and I can show you from there. Just let the unit slide down. Right. This is up to it stops. You're best doing it with the rear towards you, because you can put these right up against the stops then, and it stops it sliding. I've got it on a towel, which is it's probably the best thing to do. Right, you've got the black screws that we're on about. So 1, 2, 3. I brought you a bit closer so you can hopefully you can see where I'm taking the screws out from. Probably need another pair of hands, but I haven't got another pair, although my wife thinks I have. Right, that's all the securing screws out, and what you do is you gently tip this backwards. Make sure your plug's out, tip it like that, and then that is your motherboard. Some cables looped underneath, as you can see it. Right, that's the steppers. Now it's a split cable, or rather a split socket. There's one goes to one stepper motor, one goes to the other stepper motor, Y-axis. So that's how it controls both at the same time. This here is your plastic thing. They're all plugged, and that's held on by these two. So it's a simple case of you pull that out, you pull the power one out, and you pull the stepper motor one out. That leaves your motherboard separate. and then as you can see, this is the one that you have to disconnect from this side. So you undo these two. You can't mistake them because they're actually silver. I'm just hoping that this solves the problem. I'm not hopeful, I don't know why, but see, that comes off and that's got the power socket on, the switch. Okay, now that leaves your motherboard clean. Okay, pop that down, and it's a simple case of you get the new one. Well, obviously if you remember, you can't mistake how it goes because you've got the plugs there, which are, can you see them? A little black plug hole, USB, USB, that's that. So it can't go any other way but that way. It's as simple as that, and the button pops through, USB pops through, and everything else. Just screw that in. Don't think that you have to, as well on these, you have to wrench them round because they're only plastic, they're going into like self tappers, and what you'll eventually do is you just strip the plastic on those. Right, that's tight, that's in, that's done. These are metal, these are threaded, so they're not self tappers. They're self tappers because the back parts are plastic. Right, the next thing is we plug that in. The next thing we do then is we plug the stepper motor cables in, which you can't mistake which way around they go because there's two prongs on the back. So and they go into a slot on the plug. So you just put that and then pop that in. You let it click in, and then you've got this one, and as you can see, that goes in that way. That's your motherboard connected, and then just make sure that you tuck the cables underneath. Those cables, can you see that? There's two cables there. They need to go underneath that threaded arm. That one the same, and then sometimes you have to just flatten the cables down, and then that goes back in there, in, and that's it. It's as simple as that. And then it's a case of just screwing the screws back in. It's easier putting the screws back in if you've got a magnetic screwdriver. I just put one in and then just nip that down, but not too much because there might be a little bit of play in the screw, so you need to be able to move it like that. It just moved the board over a little bit. Once you get two in, you'll find the rest will line up. Then all those up. Just two more left to put in. There we go. And that is your motherboard secured. And all you do then is put your connection cable to the side mount, push that in, and that's it. Done. That's your motherboard completely installed. As I say, I couldn't find anything wrong with that. I've looked over it, like we had with the I looked at the power adapter, but it's a completely insulated one, so that's a different compared to the CNC 4040. But everything looked alright. Whether it's something in the firmware that's already on there, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So, right. As I say, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my laptop out, connect it up, and then see where we go from there. And I will make the video to show whether it's working or whether it isn't. I'll show you it flashing. So just bear with me. Right, we're back. I fired it up and it home to the front and then goes to the rear, as it should do. That's not a problem, it worked fine. So the motherboard on the homing cycle is no problem. So I've connected up to the PC and I already have the software and the drivers installed in it. So you've got to go to Device Manager and you click on Device Manager, and that should bring in the Device Manager window. It's just collecting, right, and if you look down there, see if that does it. See, comms 5, it's found it. And the only reason it brought the question mark is I haven't put it in the correct USB socket, so that's what it was connected to before, and it's populated is that US on comms 3. It's got something else operating through it, so it's picked a clear one, which is comms 5. So that's all done. What I have to do now, I'll go off of that. I'm going to try their straight away their software. I'm going to LC40. This is from there with the upgrade instructions, and this is to flash the firmware to laser GRBL, and I'll see whether we get the warning screen up as we did before. Right, start upgrade, and that's the software that you go into. Okay, I've only showed you that. The next thing is we switch it off, and then we hold the black button in. I do it for about 5 seconds, and then press that start button, power on button, and now it's in the mode, the motherboard's in the mode to flash the firmware. So we go back into this one, start upgrade, and I'm almost positive, I hope I'm wrong, I'm positive that it will do the same. There you go. System argument, out of range exception. The maximum baud rate for this device is 115200. It is set at 115200. So there you go. Baud rate is bits per second is 115200. That's what it should be. So it's set. Everything's correct, and I can try it on 3-4 different PCs. And for some reason this motherboard, now on the 5.5 watt laser units, it was still LC40, but they weren't the 10 watt. It flashed, because I know I watch people flashing the firmware, but this is a new motherboard, so why it's not letting you flash the firmware, I've no idea. And that is a brand new motherboard. So the one I've taken out was brand new, and it's the same as that one. So now I know that that motherboard that I've taken out is the one that I run Lightburn on, which I flashed it through my mobile phone to laser GRBL, and I can use that software and I can use Lightburn. So why this is occurring, I have no idea. Now I've tried 2 laptops and a PC, and it's still coming up with the, I'll show you it again. There you go. Look, and it says system argument out of range exception. The maximum baud rate for the device is 11,200 set. Parameter name baud rate. That's system I/O ports, serial stream, blah 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 blah. Intel 32 baud rate, and it goes on. It's the same fault that I had with the other motherboard, this motherboard. I have 3 motherboards I've tried. They're all the same. I don't know what the answer is, but it's not obviously a new motherboard. I don't know what the answer is. I'm going to keep plugging away. If anybody out there that can help me this time is, so I've tried all 3 motherboards on this one on 3 different computers, running from the software on the stick, memory stick, or installed on onto the computer. And the other 2 I've used for PCs. 2 upstairs, my wife's here, and my laptop, and they all come up with the same. I've tried a Windows 7 with an old laptop upstairs, a Windows 7. I've tried Windows 10 32 64-bit. I've tried Windows 11 64-bit. None of them will flash this firmware. The only way you can flash this firmware is through the mobile app. Then I can flash it to GRBL, which will work laser Gerbil or Lightburn, and I know that because I've had it working perfectly on the original motherboard that I've taken out of here. But the original one that SainSmart sent me, that was faulty, had some other things, issues, and they just said to me, don't bother returning it, we'll send you an exchange unit out. So I have a spare one downstairs for stepper motors and that, but I use the motherboard. I've tried it on that with the motherboard, swapped them around, and they are all the same. As I say, if anybody's got any better ideas than me, please do inform me, and I will try whatever people say to try. It's not a problem for me because I use Lightburn and I've got mine working on Lightburn. I'll just put the other motherboard back in or flash this one, but I don't want to do that because I can't go back. And not only that, the rotary that I got for this, it'll work on the app, as I well showed you in one of the videos. Works great on the app, and the PC based app software, it works on that. But I cannot get the rotary to work through Lightburn unless you can flash the firmware, and I can't do that. So through Lightburn, this is absolutely useless if you want to use the rotary, because the rotary plugs in from USB. So as I say, I'm lost now with it. But look, as I've always said, you know, I've learned from watching people and videos that are on YouTube. It's a fantastic source of information. You want something, you need to repair something, you need to do something, you wanted to type it into YouTube and you'll get the answers, many answers. But as I say, please, if you know of anything that can help me, I'll be much appreciated. You can get in touch on the comments, and then I'll pass it on. I'll probably pass it on to Saying Smart as well if it works. So as I always say, be safe, be careful out there. Until next time, don't forget, like and subscribe. Bye for now.